Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of GeekVerse podcast. I am, just Taylor today, and I'm joined by.
I am the Admiral, Kirkland Patzer.
I am the opportunist, Dylan Muss.
Yes, and if you hadn't guessed by those nicknames, we are on episode 3 of Halo. This is our spoiler.
Oh, that timing. Oh, what a day we're having here. Taylor's
So
coming in
funny.
hot in this episode. He's having issues with his
It's
computer.
like I gotta take a deep breath before you go live here. I'm so pissed off. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I guess we should keep going. He'll pop back in, and I don't know what
think
he
he'll
wants
be
to do with
back.
the edit.
Oh, there he
is. He's back. Or he's not.
Oh my golly. I don't even
Taylor,
know
Earth
what
to
to say.
Taylor. Terra 2 to Taylor.
He's got a scary face on right now.
It looks like he's having a good time at least.
I would hope so.
Let's keep going. This is episode
Let's keep going,
episode
yeah.
3 of Halo, season 2.
Yeah.
I guess what do we got going on this week? We did a Madame Web review, which was fun. We
Ooh,
also
yeah.
talked about the Fantastic Four news, the casting there.
Yep.
Side quest was good. Side quest next week should be spicy as well. We have 2 Taylors in real time. Here.
I don't know
Are you
what's
back?
going
Are
on.
you with us?
One's
Taylor?
like slightly more zoomed in than the other one. It's,
I'm here. I don't know about the other Taylor. I don't know what's going on there.
It's freaky.
let's just keep him. I like this. Oh, now he's gone.
Oh, he's gone.
Okay.
Out of here.
Hopefully, someone saved that whole fucking horrendous intro.
We kept going.
We did our best.
Yeah,
It was
we-
mostly a lot of laughing, but yeah. What else? Where was I doing with the plugs? We got join our Patreon to get episodes early and ad free. Join the Discord. I was not ready to do this.
Good
so
shout
here
out.
I am. Trying to think what else is going on. I don't think there's much. I think every time I see Taylor's mic or camera freeze up, I just get worried for what's about to happen here. I'm gonna assume he dropped again. Kirkland, you were not with us last week because you were away.
No.
How'd you feel about? I guess what's your recap of episode 1 and 2? How'd you feel about those before we get into episode 3 here?
Yeah, I thought it started strong. Similar to how season 1 started. I thought like we opened up with a cool action sequence of our heroes and their Spartan attire, and I think when I see those scenes, I'm like, man, this could be a good time. Like this is getting me into the mood, seeing some good action sequences. It's looking good. I feel like throughout the entire show, like the actual suits and the Spartans and their weapons, like all of that has looked so well made and just well done for the show. And even just like the actual Covenant, like them being on screen. I know that first episode had like a lot of fog usage, so they could maybe get away with some of the CGI, but like it looked really good in my opinion. I think it looked way better than what was shown in that first season, and like it's still good in that first season. So started really strong. And then we get reintroduced to some like, well, obviously our hero Pablo as the Master Chief, and like I don't think he's like absolutely terrible, but it's just with where we go in the story throughout the show, and I mean that first episode just kind of gets into it pretty early on after that little action sequence, and it's just like all of this like conspiracy theory stuff going on, like with the UNSC and just the Spartans, and like there's always like someone pulling like with their own like ulterior motive that's supposed to be like on the good side. And we lost Halsey last season, but like now we have like a new Halsey type character, and it just seems like a very similar dynamic that I'm just really not a fan of. So like pretty early on in that first episode, I was just already like, oh yeah, okay, this is why after last season I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to rewatch this show. We have like some returning side characters and just their own plots going on. That's pretty separate actually with what's going on with our main hero force. I just am really not interested at all with these storylines, and I'm not loving it too much. I feel like also even just like the writing, you know, Dylan, you mentioned in our plugs, like we just did a Madam Web review. Go check out that review.
Sure
But like I had a fun time with that because it was like so bad. It was fun and enjoyable. This is just like very generic, and like I feel like there's certain lines that happen here where it's just like I think I've seen this at least 100 times in media now, and it's actually getting like so ridiculous. Of like whether it's Soren and his wife, like, we can just drop everything. We'll just get in the ship and fly. It's like, we can't, like, where are we going to go? Like, how many freaking movies or TV shows have I seen that actual line, like dialogue, like word for word actually happen? And it's just, it's so generic, and like, there's no real specialness to it. And I feel like I do get excited every time I see like Spartans in their outfits, because it does look so good, but it's just so limited with what's going on, because they are trying to do these just like again, like these like secrecy conspiracy type plot, and like that's obviously the direction they're going in. That's what season 1 had, that's what this season has, and I'm just really not a fan of it. So I don't think it can really be redeemed, even just in like this actual episode 2. It seemed like a lot of that conspiracy stuff, and then leading into hopefully a more action focused episode next week, without spoiling too much. But I think that the things that were hinted in the trailer, like that's the stuff that I am interested in, like the Fall of Reach, and I guess minor spoiler, I think that's next episode that we'll be doing. But yeah, overall I thought this was probably the weakest episode, actually, out of the 3 so far. But as I was mentioning to Dylan before this, like I watched all 3 episodes right before, like for the first time, so it was just like a 3-hour movie, sort of. So they will be. I might be like mistakenly like referencing other portions, hopefully not. But yeah, just overall, I'm not super impressed by the season, and I didn't really have high expectations. But who knows? Maybe future episode can at least save it a little bit, for at least make it a little bit more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, one of my favorite things about this show occurring is just every time an episode drops, Taylor's always posting something in the Discord, like an article or a meme, which is just like people hating on the show. I just love it. I don't know. He doesn't do this for like anything else, but I love for Halo. You're just like trying to find anyone who also hates the show, and you're like trying to platform them, which I find amazing. So I'm gonna take it that you didn't love episode 3. Would that be a correct estimate?
There's only really one thing I enjoyed with this episode. The rest I didn't really care for. There's nothing that I really there's a few things that I didn't hate. It was just like, okay, that's what's happening, sure. But then there are some things I really just didn't like in the episode. I think that overall it's a fine setup episode for what I want to get to, and that's why I probably am more on the lesser side of being super critiqueful of it, because I just want to get to where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not devoid of having problems. It's not devoid of having very poor dialogue at times as well. So yeah, it's just what's that?
You're not wrong.
Yeah. So just what it sets up, that's what I'm excited for. And I feel like just again, certain scenes too that just they did in this episode, I wasn't a fan of. And there's some weird food situations too that was like, this is weird. So
in the ramen, is that where they're coming in?
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god.
That dialogue was kind of Adam Webby in my mind, where I actually chuckled. I'm like, what is actually happening here? Did she really just say that?
Yeah, man. Like anything that comes out of Kai's mouth too, like her little one-liners where she tries to be badass, but like it's just so PG. It's like this has no bite to it whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Taylor, in a non-spoilers way, can you say what was the thing that you liked about the episode?
There is a part where it was very Halo 5 Guardians with how Chief responded in a situation. I'm excited to bring it up because I was like, oh fuck, let's go. I love this. And I'm probably one of the few people that like that Chief in that kind of version, like variant of himself. But it's just I love it.
That's about like the Halo 5 Chief, like that version.
Yeah.
Does he take his helmet off and just talk all the time?
No, definitely doesn't. Fuck. But yet again, on that note, like you said it, when you see the suits, you get excited. They look so good and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned this in our previous episode 1 and 2 review. Nothing against Pablo when that helmet comes off, but I think more and more so now, it's just he does play a good Master Chief when the armor's on, but I'm just not jiving with him at all when that armor is off and he's talking, engaging in different things, and he's going about doing his stuff. And I have an example, but I want to. Well, it's not really a spoiler. It's not really a spoiler. I won't set up the context of the scene, but there's two individuals beside him. He's like, get any closer, we can talk about our feelings. I'm like, what the fuck is he rambling about? This
I
is
remember
not my
that line
Master
from
Chief.
Halo 2. That's exactly what
Oh,
Chief
yeah.
said.
Taylor, like what you said, I
Oh.
feel like I feel like almost any actor who's halfway decent could like pull off Master Chief in the suit. So I like that. That's your compliment to him. Is like, hey, he gets that part done. Like he's
Got the
at least
physique,
capable of
you know.
doing that.
He looks like a soldier.
He
He's
does,
tall.
and when he's not in the suit and he walks, he's got his shoulders up and he walks like he's in the suit still too. So
Right.
there's
As
that,
if
I
they're
guess.
CGIing it onto his body, which is not the case.
You're really reaching for these compliments.
I am, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, but that's all I got non-spoilers.
Yeah, I don't think I have much to add. Kirkland, you made a point here of just like, man, this show is so dry, and I think in this episode it stood out to me more. Not that I need big battle sequences, but just I don't know. I feel like just the way the show is edited, where here's like 5 minutes with this character storyline, and then we're gonna skip over and do 5 minutes of those other characters, and there's kind of like 3 or 4 going on. I just feel like we make so little progress and so few interesting things happen. There's even just a plot point early on here that just feels like a reiteration of what we had in this last episode. It makes me just feel like they're trying to pad it out, which is weird considering how we've talked about how this season is one less episode than last season already. But man, it's just like, it's such a drab show. Like there are those little one-liners, but they don't really work. But then other than that, like the dialogue is so basic and boring. And yeah, there's really only one character that I'm vibing with so far in this season, and I liked. I'm just gonna say it's Quan. I'm liking what's going on with Quan, which is not necessarily a storyline I liked in the first season. I don't even really like the things that are surrounding her, but just her individually, I think, is going on this fun journey so far, somewhat. So I liked what we got with her in this episode, but other than that, there's like nothing in this episode that really worked for me. None of the drama is really doing it. So yeah, I'm not too hopeful for the rest of the season. I'll put it that way for now.
How many episodes is the season supposed
It's
to be?
8.
It's
Last
8.
season was
Okay.
9, yeah. So
halfway next time.
yeah, already. Should we just get right into spoilers?
I'm ready.
Yeah, Taylor. I don't know. You want to talk more about? I feel like some positivity would be welcome on this. So, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, so the scene that I absolutely loved was when he was going to this relay station, and this is after Kai has been like questioning him and whatnot, but they're there. He's got Silver Team, and basically they're trying to figure out where Cobalt is, and they hear the thudding, and the whole thing set up was like a horror movie. I really like that tone. That was really cool. And then they hear the thudding, and they go to where this door is, and all of a sudden Oni just pops in, and all they're holding their guns towards Silver Team and whatnot. And I love that Kai was a little iffy here, and we can talk about her change later. But everyone else, like Vanek and Riz, like they were like, "What's the play, Chief?" And they're like, "Chief, you need to stand down. You're here illegitimately, basically. You don't have orders to be here, whatnot. You stole a Condor, all this stuff." And they're pointing guns at him. And I love that Silver Team is looking at him like, "Okay, what's the call here, Chief? Because we're going to follow you with whatever you choose." And Chief is just, he walks up to the officer, and he's so threatening and makes a call for what he thinks is right and needs to do. And I love that because that's spot on what he does in Halo 5. And it's fantastic. I love that side of Chief so much. The only con is, though, we had 4 games set up this change for Master Chief, and that fifth game, and it's understandable what his motivations are and why he made such an aggressive change, is because it was Cortana that he was doing this for, and after all that tribulation with her, makes sense. In this case, he's just being very loyal to trying to find the truth, and I can understand that. I do feel like it was a little choppy why they just have him make this change. Of course, we see it in season 1. He's definitely he's fought his Silver Team before for what he thinks is right and what he thinks is going on, but he's seeing things, going through visions, all this kind of stuff, and he's definitely unstable. But that aside, my big positive with this episode is just his dark tone that he threw in there, and the fact Silver Team was like, "Yeah, we're with you," because just like paralleling Halo 5, Blue Team is just like, "Chief, we're with you. We're not questioning you no matter what." And of course, a con is Kai's questioning him out the wazoo, and now after this, which is just shitty, because I feel like, no, they they should just be there and support him and be with him. It's not really a Spartan thing to kind of turn on the Master Chief like that, at least in my
Yeah.
biased opinion.
Maybe they just felt like they would have gone on that mission with him if he had been honest with them anyway. So the fact that he went behind their back and lied about it, maybe that just, particularly for Kai, like threw her off her game a bit in terms of trusting him, especially when, like, to be fair, he did see someone who is dead, and that is like, okay, are you good over there, man? Like, I can understand that a bit from her perspective, but how did you feel about the resolution of that scene and that it just ends up being, okay, whatever, we'll put down our arms and we'll go back with them? There is quite literally like 30 enemies there, so maybe it would be unrealistic if they tried to fight back. But is that what you would have preferred, or did you like that the scene just ended with, like, they just back down?
I mean, it's hard to imagine. like they the outcome of that is they would kick their ass, the Covenant attacks, and then they would be put into active duty no matter what. They wouldn't be faced like punishment or whatnot. Even Keys, it says like, I'm the one who's stopping you from being court-martialed. You're gonna court-martial a fucking Spartan? Okay, get off your fucking ass. This is like a multi-million-dollar military asset. You're gonna court-martial him? I call fucking bullshit. And then the other outcome is that, okay, well, which we saw, they stand down and they're still going to be put into active duty. So either or, it doesn't really matter. I think for the sake of the story, I like that they stood down. They didn't engage with them. I think that would have made it a little bit more repetitive if we see them on the run like we saw in the first season. So yeah, I'm okay with how it played out in this sense.
It's also repetitive though of them just being like captured and then like sent back to the brig and then like just chilling there until like they have their interviews with the new Halsey type character, and it's just like I feel like we've seen that no less than 3 times, and I feel like that's being pretty generous. I feel like it's even more so than that of just something happens, they get caught, and then they just get sent back. It's like, oh yeah, no, they're bad. They get their wrists slapped.
Even that, like, last episode, like, they got benched, and then in this episode they go against orders, and the consequence is that they just got benched again. But it's like they were already benched. Like, I don't like there was no consequence to this, which to me took away like some of the tension of it. And I'm like, what are we even doing here? Like, this just feels like we're spinning wheels at this point. But Taylor, I wish I could be with you on that scene. I mean, I like your points for Chief, and I think if I was more into the story of the games, I could maybe be there with you in that comparison. I haven't actually played Halo 5, so I can't make that direct comparison. But for me, I guess I was very much looking forward to what this mission was going to be, and I talked about that in our last episode. I thought it was like a fun cliffhanger setup of like the squad's going to go against duty, against command. They're going to go on this mission. And I just felt like the mission was super boring to me. Like I liked seeing that radio tower thing that with the satellite in the distance. That seemed very Halo to me. But then we kind of just skip, and they're there, and they're just kind of walking through, and it's dark, and there's like a little bit of tension. But I just think the editing and sound design in the show isn't that great, so I didn't feel like the tension was all that great. And then it just ultimately boiled down to nothing. And then it also made me just feel like, man, how incompetent are these 4? Like, they're supposed to be like the top level team, and somehow 30 guards snuck up on them. Like, I don't know, is this really the way they would go through a building like this, where they're all huddled together and no one's keeping watch, or no one has any sort of auditory ability to hear all these people? So it just made me feel like, is this team even any good anymore, or are they kind of in their retirement phase?
They need those pellets back.
So I don't know. The tension didn't work for me. And then I think the ending of it, I mean, I did like him kind of fighting back against her, but I just felt like it didn't really go into anything. And then I also wanted to see like where we were going down that hallway and stuff. We didn't really get any fun answers to that. So
yeah.
And that was like the action sequence of the episode. I guess there was like a 30-second scene where someone was trying to fly a spaceship out of a hangar, and that was supposed to be intense as well, but I don't think that was either. So I don't know. Like, once again, I don't need these action scenes, but like this was set up to be a fun mission, and it was not a fun mission at all for me.
It was over very, very fast. I had a lot of just excitement, I think, at the start of the episode for that reason. I actually thought they were gonna like see some Covenant members, or potentially even see oh my gosh, what's her name? McKee?
McKee.
McKee. I thought that was going to be like where they come across, because we see her and that one Covenant soldier with the whatever you'd call it, the energy sword. My gosh, I'm all over the place. My Halo lore. I feel like every time this show comes out, I just like want to play Halo again. So that's one positive thing that the show does. But yeah, like I thought there was going to be some interaction there. I thought the setup. Taylor, you already talked about it, but just like the kind of like buildup of this noise and like what is in the basement there, like it was kind of freaky. I didn't think at all it was going to be the flood, but it almost like reminded me of some of those flood missions from Halo when you're entering a dark area, and then it's almost like a Doom game at that point where it's just these terrifying things jumping at you. But when they did get confronted, I was almost just like deflated, because it's like, okay, well, that mission's fucking over. Like nothing's gonna come of that, I guess. I did like how there was the tension of that, of again what you already mentioned, Taylor, of just Silver Team really being like, are we taking these guys out? Like what's the play gonna be here? And there was a little bit of tension there. I did like that Master Chief did like just push through the officer and open the door, but again it was just like, oh, nothing's there, okay, I guess we're going back to the. So it's just like, I think it had a lot of potential to be an exciting mission, but overall it was kind of lackluster in that sense. And even just like the setup, it completely reminded me of a Halo Reach mission called Nightfall, where it's like a very similar type setting where you have your small team, it's a nighttime setting, and it's obviously goes very differently, but that's just how like the start of it felt. So I was very hopeful for that. Man, I laughed so hard though when we had, I don't know what the character's title is, but the officer that's like confronting them, and it's like, you have no idea the amount of shit that you're in. And then Kai responds with, you don't have any idea what's about to happen to your face. Yeah. It's just like, man, like that's what you said, Dylan. Like her lines are just so like PG-13. It's like, man, like she is not coming across intimidating, and she's wearing full Spartan outfit. Like I feel like like without saying anything, she should be intimidating, but then she opens her mouth and it's like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here? And then they just get arrested and go back to base like nothing really happens. So a reoccurring thing too that I remember happening last season, and it's already happening for me this season, of just like especially taking your own biases. Like anyone that's played Halo, it's like Master Chief, like it's almost like the Baba Yaga, like he's just like the one super soldier, he's such like a badass. And they keep saying this thing of just like the Master Chief, oh my god, like he's so on another level. But I feel like the way that they've just written the character pretty much throughout the entire show, but especially this season, is he just doesn't really seem like he has anything like together. And like I don't understand why like any soldier would be like, that's our hero. Like he just seems like he's always in trouble, he's always going against like what the Spartan way should be. And it's just like they keep dropping these lines like, even for the Master Chief, like you should know your place. It's like, man, like I don't feel like he is the Master Chief other than when he's in the armor. So that's again something that I think is a big con, because he's just such an iconic character, and to be like the biggest character in the Halo series, and I'm just not impressed with the badassery of him so far throughout this season and a half already.
Even episode 1, like during that foggy action scene, like a ton of people died and he did not defend them. Like we haven't really been shown a ton of things recently of him just being an exceptional soldier either. So it kind of falls
and being
off
this like symbol that like because they keep talking about how even I always forget Ackerman or what's the name of these Ackerson. He has that line, I can't remember what episode it was, but like the one thing the Covenant doesn't have is heroes, and then it shows like the Spartan soldier. I'm pretty sure they show Master Chief because he's just like the pinnacle of that symbol. Like they have these symbols for these characters, but it just doesn't. Like, there's not been major examples for it. It's almost like the show is, or the showrunners are just like, people are gonna know who Master Chief is. Like, we don't have to explain all of his history and show him saving the day. Like, people will know this, and that's just so weak. Like, that's just so weak in my mind, and it has not been executed well.
Like, they have the kid, Soren's kid Kessler, in this episode playing with like a Master Chief toy and all these things. And once again, I think that's what you're going out of, like trying to establish that symbol in any way they can. So throwing that little thing in there, but yeah, we need to see it from the man Pablo. But how about we take our first ad break, and we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. You guys mentioned the tapping, and this is a recurring thing where there was that tapping of the door, and then the girl, I forget her name. I didn't think she'd be back. I thought she was like a 1-2 episode
Perez, like Corporal Perez.
Yeah, Perez, that's the one. So she was tapping her finger in that room. I don't know what's going on there. You guys need to explain that. But then also at the end, Kwan's doing her tapping on the metal bar. as well. So this is like a recurring thing. I don't really get it. Do you guys know what's going on with that?
I don't think it's anything more so than just like a thing that they wanted to have in this episode. Like, has it happened before in previous episodes of this tapping thing?
I don't remember this
No.
happening.
No, it's just like an unsettling type. Like, I don't know the connection to Perez because by the end of this episode, it's as if she's like discerned the hidden message. But I don't think like tapping was involved in that at all.
And like making that connection between her tapping
Yeah.
and like the door.
She's like, listen to this,
tapping.
Chief. She's like tapping her finger. Do you hear it? Like that didn't happen at all. It's like, well, like why did they show the tapping event when they were going on the mission to hear the tapping, and then Quan, like it just seems very random. But again, it's just like the showmakers are like, this is
Yeah.
gonna be so cool. Just like all these taps in different areas and different just sequences connecting it all together.
Like I get why Quan was doing it. Like she was using it as bait.
Yeah.
But
Hers
other
made
ones
the
don't
most
really make
sense
to
out of
me,
all of
yeah.
the usages.
Yeah. Taylor, what's your tapping theory?
I mean, it's
Is that a
beyond
Halo
me.
5 thing.
The only tapping
Halo Wars
thing
2, actually.
the only tapping thing I could even think of is Halo Wars 2. Legit. There's a scene.
Wait, really?
There's a cutscene
Oh
where the
my
three
God.
Spartans go
My
into this.
meme turned to reality.
It is reality. There's a scene where three Spartans go into this abandoned UNSC base, and then you hear like, boo, boo, and it's like a whole battalion of brutes just smacking their spears down, like tapping the same
my God.
thud at the same time. But
Crazy.
outside of that, I mean, fuck, it's beyond me. I don't know. Perez was just kind of like semi-sleeping, semi-not, and was just like, I can get that. Like you're just you tap to like whatever you're listening to, and she was just not in a great state of mind. It seems like just listening to this like sound, but she translated it perfectly. I thought that
I was very impressed.
yeah, I was very impressed too. I thought Master Chief had an ability of translating like Sanghelian or whatever. I feel like this whole setup and that translation that she did would have had so much more weight to it if they didn't spoil the prophets in season 1 and we didn't have our team of Spartans literally go and like almost execute the Covenant hierarchy right then and there. I think that downscales it, but if you had at this point, the Covenant's been very mysterious in this season, and I think that's how it should have been even in season 1. Just keep them mysterious.
I
but
agree.
now, if this was literally a new alien species that the audience gets to learn, and they didn't say the line. They didn't say the line. I wanted them to say the line. This is my last one. You can go, Kirkland. The things they were saying, like we are, like we're going to eliminate humanity. I'm paraphrasing, of course, and all that. But like, there's one thing that the prophets say, and they say it in Halo 3. That your extinction is the will of the gods, and I am their instrument, or something along those lines. We are their instrument, I believe it is. It's such a crazy, scary line, and they didn't say that here.
No, I completely agree with you that I think this could have had such a bigger effect if we didn't have all that prophet stuff already. Because, I mean, I feel like the taps would have just been so much more intense of hearing these taps in the background as she's relaying this information, and then you get like the translated version of like what's coming, because like we already know that the Covenant's coming to Reach just because of like the scenes with Ackerson and Keyes and the other characters that know about it. So I think just like, okay, even if you've played Halo or haven't, you probably know that the Covenant is the bad or the aliens. So like the aliens are coming, but then until you hear that there is this like almost like a religion type aspect to it, like it just has so much more weight and fear to it. It's not like they're just coming to take your resources or murder you for whatever. Like it's like they're unlocking something. They're like ascending by just glassing this entire planet. Like there is like a purpose as opposed to just a complete annihilation. It'll I think McKee even mentions it, how it just takes them to the next level essentially. So and yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it could have had so much more weight if we didn't have those prophets in episode 1. Because even just playing through the games, like you don't find out about that in early on in the games, right? Like it comes later.
It's in Halo 2, and even then, it's not from the human's perspective. It's from the Covenant's perspective with the Arbiter, right?
Halo 2 Season 2, they should have done the same thing, you know?
Yeah, well, I don't think we're getting that far in the show.
All in the game brought up this scene where the two tiny guys escorting Master Chief to his psych eval was a little ridiculous. You guys think that was like an intentional thing that they or Ackerson just sent two little goon dudes so that Chief would knock them out and escape, and then he could use that as like some fuel to turn people against him?
like he it's weird because I don't know
4D
what they were
chess moment on that, but
I don't know what they were setting up with that scene because he's like antagonizing them like you guys happy to be doing this, huh? Happy to be working for Oni or something like that. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but they're like they're sincere, like sorry, chief, something like orders or
He's
orders.
just shitting on them. You
Yeah, he's
fucking
just
rent
shitting on 'em.
cops.
And
You know who I am? You'll never be as big as me. Look how big I am.
And
like when he was yelling at the sign guy in the previous episode.
yeah,
Take that down.
you like that scene,
Like
Kirkland?
he's just scared for his
back.
life.
Who do you report to?
Oh, but yeah, he's just that's the scene I was alluding to earlier when he's being escorted, and yeah, they're like he's antagonizing them. Like, oh, if you get any closer, we can talk about our feelings. Like, fucking, jeez, Louise.
It felt a little bit like a Winter Soldier elevator sequence, but they should have. It didn't make sense to just have the two. I guess they just would have assumed he would be cooperative because
Yeah.
they are all on the same side. I guess that's the argument you can make there. But like, they also have Spartans, don't they? Like, why would you not have other Spartans arrest this Spartan? Like it just seems like worst case scenario. There is no outcome that these little gimpy soldiers can take on, and they're not even gimpy. It's just comparing them to like a Spartan, where it just is like augmented. It just, yeah. No chance.
The Spartans they
Fucking-
had, they
when he
they
smacks
died.
them, like they just get like I think they just died. Like I don't know how they survived that impact with how hard.
They'll need
he
to
hit
psych
them.
eval after because they're gonna have some
Yeah,
brain damage for
they're
sure.
probably still in that elevator.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I don't think anyone went to go get them. Ackerson doesn't give a shit about anyone. so.
No, he's out. He's out. The
Go ahead.
fallout of that scene too. Sorry, like because he was trying to get out of there so he could go and talk to I can't remember her name, the former
just forget it.
former admiral lady,
What her name?
and that's when we get the silly soup scene. Like, eat the soup. It's the best soup in this part of town.
That
Like,
seems so strange. Yeah, that's the good soup. That's the best soup. Like, it just seems strange. And then it got to the point where it's like, the Covenant are here in the ramen. Like, what? What is happening here? Like, what? I thought this was supposed to be like a serious moment. It was so strange.
yeah, she's being very facetious, and it turns out to like on the story narrative part that it seems like she's not kicked out of the UNSC now. It seems like she's actually been a part of Oni the whole time, and she was just trying to keep Chief kind of like first she asked Chief like, I want you to get every bit of information you can and then come and see me. And then she's like, okay, Chief, you need to just stick just like stay under the wire, go back. Is that because she wants to keep using Chief as a mole on the inside, or she is technically like, Chief, you can't be going out and spitting these facts. I'm here to kind of like just remedy the situation.
I do not know what the hell's going on with that character, to be honest with you. I mean, I think like part of it is that she just still, even if Chief is off his rocker at this point, she still sees value in him. And so I think that's why she's trying to befriend him. But then she also like pushes him away at other points too with some of these plot points, plot reveals and all that. So yeah, that's a storyline that I'm not super invested in. But yeah, I'm also, I guess I'm surprised. There's multiple characters that we've seen like I thought would just be like one-offs. Like I thought she would just kind of pop in there quickly. I didn't think we'd be going back to her, but now this seems to be this like underworld of Reach is going to be this whole plot line. Well, I don't know how much longer Reach is going to be standing and all that, but yeah, I don't have many theories on what's going on with her motivations at this point. I feel like we'll hopefully get more of that later on.
Admiral Perengoski. That's her name.
Perengoski, that's right.
Margaret
Yeah.
Perengoski. Yeah, I agree, Dylan. I have no idea what's going on with her, and like just the fact that she is just like still with Oni. I just feel like it takes away some of the consequence maybe that happened last season, because like a big part of that was like she kind of lost her title, right? Because she threw her maybe I'm misremembering it, but like she just threw her like what's it called, her reputation on the line to trust like, the greater good. And then now the repercussion is she's basically in the same title but just undercover. She can chill at the ramen shop and just have some soup. She doesn't have to go to these boardroom meetings all the time. Like, does that mean that she knew about that the Covenant was coming? And like, is she with oh my gosh, what's like
Ackerson?
Ackerson, like evacing the planet? Like, I didn't really get that hint because it just seemed like, she just told Chief to go back and just be a good prisoner, not so much trying to like hint and warn him of what's to come, like your people will need you, like those sort of lines. I feel like that could have been delivered there and like had some like holy shit, what's gonna happen, and then, but yeah, I don't know. It was weird usage of that character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she tried setting the goons up on him too, and they
Like a Jason Bourne movie for a second when they just like all stand up.
Yeah.
Like,
They
is he
were
just gonna like
intimidated.
dismantle more of these like non-super soldier characters? Like, no one is on his level in these moments, so I don't know why they're like trying to intimidate him that they can like take him out. Strange.
Mm-hmm.
He's the
And
chief.
also, I got a question too, because big part of Master Chief is his symbol with the helmet and everything. Do the common folk just not know what he looks like his face?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because he was wandering the streets and
Do you think
everything multiple
Kessler's
times in
toy
this.
has like a removable helmet and it has like a little Lego version
That's a
of his
good
face?
question. Yeah.
Well, he's got that hood, right? He puts the hood on and he's invisible, right? So
He was rocking that hood in the last episode.
But like even if he's just with Parangosky, like in that ramen shop, I feel like if he's supposed to be like humanity's hero, it's just like holy fuck, it's Master Chief right there. Like that's crazy. Can I get a photo with him? Like that just never really happens. And he's also just wearing his like 117 his
True,
117
yeah.
shirt multiple times. I don't I don't know. Like I know he's probably not kissing babies, shaking hands normally, but I just feel like he is just such a big deal on paper that like people should probably recognize him more often. And even like, so again, I'm jumping all over the place here, but when he dismantles those guards in the elevator and then he just goes to visit Perez, right? Or am I out of order on that
yeah.
sequence? Like,
Well, he meets. I think it Perez is after he meets
That's the end of the
the
episode.
admiral. Yeah.
oh right, yeah, because he goes to the okay,
Cliffhanger
yeah,
with the
right.
thing blowing up. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was just like, as he's again while he's wandering around, like he's supposed to be like the military should be after this guy, and he's just like knocking on doors looking for Perez around town. Like it just didn't seem like there was any care in the world that, again, like Taylor, you mentioned, like this multi-million-dollar asset, probably billion-dollar asset, like just ridiculous amount of money worth of this individual, like humanity's like number one weapon and just symbol is just missing, and also like a criminal. But he's just free roaming, and it doesn't really matter.
He's having sex with Covenant sympathizers.
Well, I'm trying to remember that sequence in, I forget if it was episode 1 or 2, when he goes to Prez, her family's house, and then like cause they didn't recognize him immediately. Like I'm thinking like of the cousins or whatever who were like fanboying over
right?
him.
Yeah.
They didn't recognize him at first, right? Like they found out later on.
I think they just knew he was a Spartan. I don't even think they knew he was Master Chief.
Okay, so I guess that would, to me, that would answer, because I don't think we've ever seen any other like citizens of Reach, really. Like we've seen
Yeah, you're
citizens
right.
of like Soren's Asteroid or Magical last season, but we haven't really seen a lot of just like day-to-day Reach stuff. It's always people up in their freaking ivory towers looking down at the city. I built that bridge, like all this kind of thing. So that, to me, that's like, okay, well, that's our one point of evidence of what a citizen is like, and they didn't recognize him, and they're fans of this stuff. So I would take it as the general people don't know what he looks like, and maybe they just see the 117 hoodie and think he's just it's like a sports team or just repping a jersey for the team, like that kind of thing. Maybe that's what's going on.
That's their favorite
Possible.
player.
Yeah. This is another all in the game really into the on the same wavelength as me here. Another thing. So did they do a good job humanizing the bad guy with his dad / sister's backstory? So I wanted to talk about that because yeah, it was weird to me just the way this was put into the season. I suppose we come out in this like first couple episodes, Ackerson's like this big new character, and I feel like okay, well, we're supposed to have like a ton of respect for this guy or be fearful of him. I'm not too sure, but like I didn't know who he was, so it didn't really have any meaning. Taylor has the backstory. We talked about that in the first two episodes review. That you came in with like some, I don't know, at least some backstory on who Ackerson is and why you should care about this character. But I didn't, and there wasn't really like there was no charismatic part to it, or like narratively there wasn't really any interesting things going on, so I really had no reason to care for the character or what he's doing or why he would make for a good villain. And so it did feel a little forced to me to throw in this this stuff with his dad, and his dad who clearly has dementia of some sort, and his dad was also important in this realm, in this place. And then the sister part, I mean, I think that was better for me. I liked that because that draws a connection to Halsey, and I understand now why he feels the way he does for Halsey. I don't know if I needed both of these elements. I feel like maybe one of them or the other, but I don't think it was too successful for me. Ackerson's not a character I'm all that interested in at the moment, even though he's clearly going to be a very big part of the season. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about? I guess even just the scene, like the scenes didn't really hit for me either emotionally, which in a way that they could have, and probably just because I didn't have that investment in the character in the first place.
Yeah, I personally it didn't do much, and it was also just like, why are we wasting time with this? Like this isn't gonna make me like this character by any means. So it like, and like maybe if they, I don't know, maybe not even necessarily if they rewrote those scenes, but just rewrote some of the characters' motivations, and maybe that, like, I can't even say maybe that's gonna be something that's coming because it just seems like he played his hand. He's been a dick to like everyone this entire time, like since his first inception of the show. It's just like, oh, I had a hard time getting here, and he's just like, he's just this guy that's like always smiling, even though he's like telling people or like just putting people in their place, and just isn't really a likable character. And then you have this like, just again like a soft moment between him and his father, and kind of reminiscing, thinking about the better times of his dad. That's probably just a millionaire on this planet because he made that bridge, I guess. And the sister stuff, I think that like you said, Dylan, it definitely worked a lot more for me, especially just when you had Halsey interacting with this one character. It's like what even is this? Like what's going on here? Getting that reveal that is Julia and that is like a Flash clone of her that just keeps dying. Like that stuff worked more for me. But also, like, by the end of that, Ackerson is just off that planet now, and now Reach is just going to get just demolished. So I don't think that I'm going to get like a satisfying conclusion to those interactions between those two. Maybe it'll happen, but I don't know. It just seemed like they wanted to do something, but they just don't have enough time to do it. So like in the moment, I'm like, why even try to do this? And then the little send off between the dad and the sister, like that didn't even like do much for me. And I feel like that should be a really sad moment, but maybe we just didn't have enough time between that. But again, like I don't think I wanted that time. I think I want time spent elsewhere, like with the actual Covenant and what's going on with there. As Taylor mentioned, the Discord, like, are we ever seeing Flood in the show ever? Like, probably not. Not at this rate with how this show's going.
Yeah.
Well, the character getting a little bit more of this emotional backstory in this episode really caught me by surprise. There's a lot of books out there that kind of detail this stuff with Ackerson, and I mean, Ghosts of Onyx is where you really get to learn about the character, and you get to learn about Chief Petty Officer Mendez, I think is his name, and then the Spartan 3 program, everything that they're doing in there. It's a great book, but I feel like that was even something that was alluded to here, aside from all the emotional stuff. You have him talking one-on-one with Halsey and basically says to her, the things that you did and you created is going to be, did I write it down on my notes? I don't want to paraphrase that. Her creations, and I assumed her creations being the Spartan 2s, will be the foundation for something amazing. I took that as Spartan 3s. Maybe that's something that they're going to be alluding to. Again, we just see his disregard for the Spartan 2s and whatnot. He literally just got a team killed on not giving them proper intel or anything like that. So it shows his disregard. We've seen him be kind of, again, a jerk and whatnot, but then I don't like that they're just trying to add this connecting soft side to him, like, oh, you know what, maybe he's really not all that bad of a guy because his sister was taken and turned into a Spartan when she was little and died, and oh, his father is going through some dementia type stuff and he has to leave the father behind. Like, I feel bad for the father. I'm not feeling bad for Ackerson though. I mean, we'll talk
Father
more.
Lived a good life.
Well, sure, yeah, he built that bridge.
He died old. I think he's okay dying in that bed with his daughter.
And even then the setup of just sitting in the Julie clone just to be with him when they both die, like, it's a very touching moment, very, very sad. But the thing that I don't like is how Ackerson is just giving up. I feel like that's just because having a character at this point in the show just doesn't work, because Reach is They say in the games it's on humanity's doorstep. Reach is like the most powerful human planet out there. It is a fortress, a military stronghold. While it has civilians residing there too, it is a fortress. And so for the Covenant to just go in here, and Ackerson's like, yeah, we'll fight, but we ain't gonna win this, and he just bounces and he's out of there. I guess that's actually pretty fitting in retrospect for his character, because he's putting his own self-centered interests above others, and he's like, yeah, well, we're not even gonna activate the winter contingency. We're just gonna bounce. So maybe that's fitting, but I don't like also seeing that humanity is just saying we're just going to leave Reach as it is.
Mhm.
And I hope that we get a little bit more resistance on that, because if you're going to make a stand, like, Reach is the place to do it. You've got everything.
And like, for what you said there, like, it just makes me hate the whole trying to humanize him even more, because it's not even like he's leaving something behind on this planet. Like, his dad is dead because like he has dementia or whatever. It's not like he's leaving like a family with like kids that he's just like he has to leave because he's a part of the fleet comm, whatever it is, the hierarchy, and it's such a sacrifice on his regard to just leave this planet. Like, that is not like he tied off all those loose ends. His dad had dementia. He gave him whatever the pill was, some sort of cyanide type thing, and then like his sister's already been dead, and then he just had like that moment between the sister and the father. But then like now he's just there's nothing tying him to that planet. So like, why even go through those motions of trying to make it seem, because we already know his decision. He's already out of there, and he has no remorse of like leaving all these innocents there. It was such a wasted effort in that aspect. And again, like what you were bringing up there of just his lack of even wanting to try, that was just so frustrating, because it's like, man, like, you have such a powerhouse, like everything you just laid out, like Reach is this like military stronghold for humanity, and yeah, we're gonna go find something else, and yeah, we're just gonna lose, and we'll be out of here. So yeah, we'll meet you at the ship. Like, it just seems so corny and cheesy. It's like, really, like, I really, really do not like the whole UNSC Oni fleet comm in this show, and I think last season I didn't know I felt that way. Maybe I did, but this one, it's like, man, 3 episodes in, like, I'm like rooting for the Covenant now. Like, when do we get introduced to the Arbiter? When can we have him as the main character? I'm just so done with these forces, and these are our protagonists that we have to root for. It's frustrating.
It gives me I have respect for Commander Keyes and the way he pushed back on Ackerson in that moment, but at the same time, Commander Keyes is just like taking such a minor role in this season as a whole. So there's not a whole lot going on there. I think not that I love season 1 either, but I feel like that idea of you have Halsey, Commander Keyes, you even have Miranda Keyes, and then Perengovsky. Like, I don't know, you had like a multitude of characters, and like all of them had their own slight motivations. And it was interesting to get some of those sequences when they're pushing back on each other, or certain characters are behaving certain ways, where I feel like a lot of that, like from the higher up of this whole program, is not as meaningful, because it's just like Ackerson's doing stuff. Commander Keyes is there. He's just like the military guy. That's kind of the only, because Taylor, I think we talked about this, but like, what happened to Ms. Miranda again? Where is she at?
Well, she was supposed to take over what Halsey was doing. She got her whole laboratory and everything, but she's gone now. I don't know where she is at this point.
Yeah, so that also
that.
adds, because that's a character we're invested in. And I think we all liked her pretty much in the first season, so that would add a little bit more from Commander Keyes as well, and his family side of things. And yeah, we're not even getting that this season. So I don't know. There's some weird choices there in terms of that, and I'm still not thrilled with Ackerson across the board. And I'm sure I'm gonna later on in the season we'll get more information on him that I need to make a more rounded decision on him. But I can't help but think that, man, the first 3 episodes here, they've done a really bad job of setting up this character as one of the antagonistic forces in this season. It's not working for me at all right now.
Can imagine if this was like his exit from the show. We don't see him for the rest of the season.
He just flies away.
He's gone. Yeah.
I wouldn't be sad.
There's another thing with Miranda Keyes that makes me think she was not involved at all in the events of Halo 1. That was just Captain Keyes and Chief and the Pillar of Autumn crew. So I kind of feel like that happens directly after Reach. Chief gets on the Pillar of Autumn with Keyes, and they leave Reach, and then boom, Halo 1 happens. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe they're trying to keep her separated. Again, that's no excuse for why they don't at least have her in the show, because they could make up some narrative to say, hey, you can't go with your father, Captain Keyes. He's going this way, you're going this way. She becomes relevant again in episode or in Halo 2. So I'd hate to see that. Maybe, okay, are they just kind of back benching her right now until they get to season 3? I don't know.
I'm gonna Google just
Yeah.
to see if this actress is even in this season. I'm curious.
For where was I gonna go? Something else that happened just as you're googling there that I just really was disappointed in was so Soren got captured. I can't remember if it was last episode or this.
Last
again.
episode,
Okay, yeah, last episode. So he gets captured, MIA, and then in this there's like a air quotes big moment of Ackerson's like leaving Halsey forever, and then he comes back in like, I don't want to leave you completely alone. Enters the room, Soren. It's like it's supposed to be this like big like jaw drop moment, like, oh my god, a former Spartan's gonna be able to one-on-one with Halsey here, and I'm just like, man, I don't even care about this. Like really, like as soon as he came through the little curtain thing, the little translucent curtain thing, I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Like I just have no interest in that. And I think it's just because of the character of Soren. Like I'm just really not interested in the whole former Spartan, now he's a pirate type scenario. For me, it's not really where I want the focus of the show to go, but of course I don't have my say at all when it comes to what's going on in the show here. So that was just a moment that like I'm like, holy crap, who's gonna come through that door? Oh, okay, Soren, right? I forgot that he's captured. But
And he could just kill her too if he wants. Like
just fucking beat the shit.
yeah, I don't think he was cuffed.
I guess so. Of course, that
Of
wouldn't
course,
happen, though.
he could have escaped too, because he had two little dudes like Chief had in the elevator escorting him in there. Like,
That's a good point.
gosh,
He's definitely not in as good shape as Pablo, though.
no. What'd you find, Dylan? Anything?
Seems like she's in it, but I couldn't really
Okay.
get like an episode count or anything for you, so
Mm.
not too sure.
Let's see.
Not too sure. I guess the only storyline that we haven't touched on yet is what's going on in I always forget the name of the asteroid that's Soren and
Rebel?
crew. The Rubble?
I think it's called the Rebel.
The Rubble. I think yeah, that was on screen in this third episode, I think. The Rubble, yeah, so there's a storyline with Quan and Soren's wife, whose name I wrote down as Layla, and then Kessler.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Generally, I think this sequence was fairly weak for me. Just like I don't know, doing that whole ship sequence where they sneak onto this ship and then they're gonna fly away, and then like the door closes too quick, so they just don't. Like I don't think I've ever seen a movie or show do that before. You know, that's such a classic thing where they just barely sneak out there. So I was like, okay, I guess the show's doing something different than what is traditional here. Yeah, I don't know. Layla's like she was in season 1, but I don't feel like she really had much of a narrative that I can remember. So I'm surprised to see a lot of her here. But yeah, like I was saying in the opening thoughts, like I think Quan, I just think her looks really cool, and I like that she's just this kind of like hiding in the shadows, like assassin type character now.
Mhm.
I don't really know what the trajectory for the character is, and it doesn't seem like she'll ever see Chief again. Like that was just a very brief, because that was even like at the very start of season 1, right? And then they just went their separate ways and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like what she's doing there. She's a bit more fun than some of these other characters for me. But even then, like I don't know. Narratively there isn't a whole lot that's grabbing me necessarily. So I don't know. Do you guys have any other thoughts on that whole sequence?
I agree. I think it's funny how much I just like disliked the Quan character last season, and then now it's like she's like the shining star of like I kind of just want to know what's going on with her, because it has nothing to do with the UNSC, nothing to do with this like weird politicking and like conspiracy theory stuff going on. She's just kind of assassinating people on this rugged planet, and I'm just kind of down. Like it doesn't even seem like a Halo story, but I'm digging it. And it was probably episode 2 when she's running away from like the pirate people that had like the chip in her ear, and like just that little cat and mouse situation. That was a fun sequence, and totally agree with her look. I like just like her incognito garb with the scarf over her head, and she just seems like a
Way better
like you said.
haircut this season. Too.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not was not a fan of her shaved sides last season, but yeah, like Layla, I'm really not a fan of that character. I am okay if she would have just not made it past this episode. Um, like even just having Quan and Kessler, I think that's a fun little dynamic of two smaller individuals trying to take on the world, and it just like that could have some potential there. So I'm a little bummed that Kessler just got departed from there. I found it hilarious that they're like trying to like sneak onto the ship and he's just wearing a fucking Spartan helmet. Like, man, that guy kind of stands out. Like, what's that guy wearing?
The
But
Chief's not gonna wear it, and someone's got to, right?
I guess so. But yeah, so the three of them, I think it would have been a fun pairing, even though I'm not so high on Layla. But the fact that they got rid of Kessler and now it's Quan and Layla, it's like, okay, well I like Quan
Yeah.
a little bit, but
And
not
even like
really.
the antagonists of that sequence, like those two pirate gang banger types, I don't
Yeah.
really want to call them, but they're both gone now too. So I don't know
Yeah.
what the future is gonna hold for that trio. Oh, do you guys feel like the kid looks like way too old to be this oblivious through this whole sequence?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I don't know how. I'm gonna say he's like 12 or something. I have no idea. It's hard for me to guess that kind of thing, but I just feel like he is so oblivious to everything that's going on. He's like, should I be worried right now? Should I be scared? Like,
Yeah, asking
these
stupid questions.
Yeah. And then, do you guys think Soren's treasure is a thing? Is that gonna be like a plot point?
I
Going
hope
forward?
not. I hope not. The treasure that I want is like the Forerunner tech. Like, why do we need to have these
Mhm.
pirates in the show? Like, let's just stay focused on what on what these Halo stories should be about. Let's not do this side pirate type story where these pirates are kidnapping Soren's family to get just literal treasure. I just really was not a fan of that. So I'm glad it didn't like extend past this episode. Like they just dismantled those individuals right away. You have Assassin Quan on
But
the
who are
ship
they
there.
working for, though? Right? I mean, it's the story's
Right.
What
not.
was the name that they said?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I forget. And there was still that like nerdy dude who was like baited Soren into that sequence. Like I don't know if he's gonna.
Oh
come
my
back.
gosh, I hated that character. The Felix guy, like right away. I'm like, Soren, just fucking shoot this guy. Like he's baiting you here. Come on. And then, yeah, I was not a fan of Felix at all.
Felix. You remember his name? Well, I guess you just watched the episode today.
It's fresh.
Yeah, he's already evaded my mind.
Yeah, the whole Quan thing. I think Quan is fantastic. I'm actually really liking the character. I like how
Nice.
they've turned that around. But the whole Layla thing, uh, it's it's cool. I think it's neat to kind of see more of her development as a character, but at the same time, I feel like she's also making kind of stupid decisions. Notably, them trying to escape in the crowd, and she doesn't put like a hat on because she's got the most standoutish hair next to her kid's helmet that he wears too.
Yeah, and face and
Um,
eyes. Like she's a very
Yeah.
distinct looking person. So
Very
it doesn't-
distinct.
This
Yeah.
planet is like so dirty and grimy. She's like so well like just dressed. She's wearing like designer
Yeah.
clothes and yeah.
And even when
Yeah.
those pirates like are pulling up near that ship, and she could be seen at this point. Like I thought she was about to like duck behind someone else, but she's just like trying to get a better look.
Raises her
Like,
head
go
up higher,
hide
yeah.
somewhere. Like what are you doing?
When they were flying out, I again I thought they would get out, and then the door went into super speed closing mode. But the thing that I don't get is this guy's on a tiny little rinky dinky little catwalk running to hit this button. You swing that ship to the side, like you're not going to damage the ship, and you're going to take him out and be able to get
Mm.
away. It just kind of baffles my mind, the thought process in this.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
did
she
not
seemed
cross
to have
my
no
mind.
issues like piloting that thing, but I don't know if she's ever driven that exact ship. So I don't know. Maybe that's just beyond
It was
her.
Soren's ship, wasn't it? Isn't that what they said?
It is Soren's ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was just some. I just thought they got some random one in the hangar. That makes more sense though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ruby Ann. I looked it up. That's the name of the mysterious person that our pirates were taking Layla and Kessler and Quan.
Yeah, I don't need to see any more of this Ruby Ann character, or just the whole little like they bring in refugees and they auction them off to like these pirate lords. Like,
Oh, is that the
Uh,
character? Is that Ruby Ann? Like the
well, I don't
auctioneer
know, but
person?
I'm
Oh,
assuming
okay.
she's affiliated with that.
Okay.
But I'm over and done with that. They've turned into just this whole like that. Remember that warlord that took over Madrigal in the first season, and it was
Yeah.
just super
Fuck that
pointless.
guy.
Forgot about that character.
I feel like that's what this is kind of becoming, and I don't really need it. I need more
Well
like
said. Yeah.
Halo oriented stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it because I as season 1 went on, it felt like that storyline drifted more and more away from the A plot of the whole season, and this episode or this season just started with like a complete deviation, has nothing to do with anything else. And then I guess there was that point of connectivity where now Soren got taken into Halsey's prison cell, and they got dropped off there. So there's, I guess that's like the one link, but yeah, it's pretty much just like its own little side story at this point.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else on this episode here.
I got
Me neither.
I got one thing here. I think I hit everything else on my notes. Well, actually, okay, one quick little Easter egg. They mentioned Keys mentions the winter contingency. Always like hearing that. That's something that they
Great name for like
it
a
is
plan.
a great name.
Oh,
It is a great name.
was that the name of like it was the name of a mission, wasn't it? Like when they actually
Halo
do
Reach.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's the most
Basically,
recent game I've played, so it's just like those things are fresh in my mind.
it's basically once Covenant forces are detected on a human occupied planet, the winter contingency is activated to evacuate the planet.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
love
good. We need
Halo.
one for GeekVerse. We need like a Red Dawn contingency or something.
Dawn.
Red Dawn, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll go over what that means and what to
When
do.
someone has a white screen and can't get into the StreamYard.
Tune into our town hall that we're doing in a couple weeks, and we'll tell you more about the Red Dawn.
But yeah, the main note I wanted to touch upon was Riz when she goes to see the Spartan who is blind, and his partner is basically
Was he an actual
the-
Spartan, or was it just like he was becoming a Spartan? And
I
then he
took it
went
as like he
blind?
was, I guess, becoming a Spartan,
Yeah,
and the
okay.
augmentations kind of like screwed around with his eyes.
Yeah.
So his partner is the, I guess, kind of like the psychiatrist, or I can't remember what he
The
did, but he like
physio?
works yeah, works
Physiotherapist
on
or
the other Spartans and whatnot. So
Another character that I thought would be just a one episode, one and done kind of guy. So I'm glad
Yeah.
that he's back.
yeah, so Riz is over there for dinner, and so the guy's making dinner and is serving drinks, and the way the camera is shot, like he puts down the bottle in front of the blind guy and then the glass in front of Riz. I'm like, is the blind guy just getting the whole fucking like bottle of booze just to drink, like, and doesn't even know? It's just
What's
kind
his
of
favorite,
weird.
It's your
right?
favorite drink.
Yeah.
Dollop.
It's your
Down
favorite
the
drink. But no, it's just he pulls up, he drinks a glass.
Could you imagine? He just
fuck.
uncorks it. Just gulp, gulp, gulp. My favorite.
And then the Covenant hit, and he's just like tipsy out of it. He's just completely blasted at this point.
I think he'd just be blacked out. I think he would sleep through the whole thing.
Kirkland, how are you feeling about Riz this season? We talked about this in our last episode, that she's like seems taking like a 180 in terms of what she didn't really have much of a storyline in the first season, but she's taken on a whole new, very aggressive personality. So this is like a much more sedated Riz in this episode.
Yeah. She was like the tough badass last season, and now it's like her I guess scars, her war wounds are catching up with her. She looks terrible. Like that scar, man.
Yeah,
like
brutal.
I don't know how she can even get clothed. I get it, she's got her augments, but that
She's
looks
climbing rocks with
that
that
looks
shit.
terrible. And she's like, I got her. It's like, fuck. This is a terrible plan.
Go down.
The way that she drops from that freaking waterfall, like right onto her back on that rock.
And then he's like, "Get up,
Gosh.
we have to keep going." Like, immediately.
That was big head scratcher moment there. I was gonna say, like, I guess I like that they're giving a little bit more substance to the other members of Silver Team, but like, I don't know. I still want them to focus the screen time on other portions of the story, but like the story that they're giving us, I'm not even liking. So I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on it. I do like that they're giving them a little bit more of a character now that they I guess have the pellets out. Like it shows that maybe if she never got the pellet removed, like she never would even be considering all these moments, or even just bonding like with the other was never truly a Spartan but almost a Spartan character, and his husband there. So I'm kind of in the middle, because it's like, okay, I do like the little humanness to it, to the whole Spartan idea, because they're not normally like that, but like, come on, show me the Covenant and show me I still would rather see other things, but it seems like the script that they have for the show is also just not something I really care for. So it's better than other aspects that I've seen of the show, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
I guess just jogged my memory. Chief is in church. It's like and
First
Prez like
time.
yeah, first time. People come here to get answers, and Chief's like, and do they get them? Sometimes it's like Chief's just having this whole
So
awakening
awkward
here.
sometimes with with his
It's
interactions
so
with
awkward.
the regular
Talking
folk.
talking to Prez's mom, like the devil follows you or demons follow you wherever you go, Chief, or something like that. Just
Do you remember what he even said after that? Like, I feel like he just stood there like a freaking ghost.
I think he did just stand there and just didn't even answer her.
He's been known to do that.
Yeah,
He doesn't do well with the commoners. That is definitely for sure.
that's yeah.
With most people, I would say.
Most people, yeah, just needs to eat his ramen soup.
He needs to just put his fucking armor on and kick ass. Like, why is the show not doing that?
Well, he's benched, right? Two-time benched Spartan
my gosh.
right now. So, but that'll be
Wait,
all
off
gone
in
in the
the first
next
time.
episode.
At the start of the next episode, he's supposedly in this exploded church with no armor on. Like, is he just
the
gonna be
whole fall
doing
of
most
reach,
the action?
yeah, no armor, whole fall of
Yeah.
reach. He's gonna be with Perez fighting the Covenant with
Oh
no
my
no
gosh.
armor.
Fist fighting too. Doesn't have a weapon probably.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that they do really turn this thing around with the next episodes. I think that's what they were promoting. At least you mentioned this still. I think in our last episode review was like the middle season. I think they were kind of like building up towards this. Maybe I'm thinking in my head.
I don't remember that.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking. I painted this whole picture in my head of what
Red Dawn
what
contingency.
You had a
Yeah.
dream. You had a bad dream.
What are those like resource thing like in the Halo games when they just like drop down like a drop
Oh, like a
weapon
supply
crate
drop?
essentially? I'm hoping that just happens like outside the church and that just has his whole armor. Or are you saying like for sure you already know that he doesn't wear armor at all? During this?
I don't know. I'm just
Okay.
thinking at this rate, that's what
Good
the
assumption.
show's gonna do.
That'd be
but
sweet.
I mean,
Keys is on the
let's-
radio like do
Presumably
your
his
thing,
armor's
chief.
far away, like in that
Normally it is.
in the base.
You just
too,
summit
right?
like Mjolnir. I
Keys
want
just
a
puts
moment
the
like
armor on
that.
himself.
Next time, baby. This is his time, baby.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, hopefully next week's episode is a bit more exciting, has some good
Mm-hmm.
storylines, because that will be the halfway point. So that should be a good time. We will be back to cover it, of course. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and yeah, we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Adios.